Mogens Smed went bankrupt once, and he doesn't intend to go anywhere near business failure again. So when his company hit a downturn last fall, he went into recovery mode. Colin King was there.
But think about it. Who's the idiot that put it in the box? Honest to God.
It's late October, the quarterly staff meeting at Smed Office Furniture in Calgary, and owner Mogens Smed is in full recovery mode.
We have a lot of people that are questioning the validity of our company and whether we're really going about it the right way.
For years, Smed did well, but in September he projected a loss. The market hammered Smed shares down 40% in one day, and Smed laid off 306 employees.
You know, as I said, that particular day was one of the most shameful days of my personal life. You know, having been bankrupt before, that wasn't near as difficult, because at least when I went bankrupt, it was the bank's decision, it wasn't ours. Get a prayer at your hand for me.
Mogens Smed lost his first furniture business in the Calgary oil bust of 1982, but bounced back. He intends to again. Smed sells furniture business in the Calgary oil bust of 1982, but bounced back. He intends to again. Smed sells high-end office products. Unlike its competitors, it sells it all. Not only workstations and furniture, but movable walls, floors, and ceilings. 3/4 of Smed's clients are American. Blue-chip firms like Coca-Cola and Bank of America.
Why don't you have Tim talk to the client?
Smed doesn't have a corner office. His base is a workstation in the wide open. All the better to keep an eye on his turnaround. If you have a door, he says, you don't know what's going on. Smed has a new state-of-the-art factory that cost $80 million. But when it moved in, inefficiencies cropped up. Now, Smed has to cut costs, boost sales. And as factory operations tighten up, Mogens is focusing on Smed's 49 sales offices.
But, Sherry, you got to work the end user. I mean, let's face it, that's who makes the decision. Yeah. So you should be in the driver's seat. Just go, Sherry, just go after it, okay? Don't worry about the bullshit. That doesn't matter anyway, does it?
His style isn't subtle.
By the way, Sherry, you know how much I care, right? It doesn't.
His style isn't subtle.
By the way, Sherry, you know how much I care, right? Like nothing, okay? Go get the deal. Okay, take care. Bye.
Here's one of Smed's premier sales tools, Falkridge, its corporate retreat just outside Calgary. The guest house is luxurious, but this is Mogens' house. He lived at Falkridge for 6 years, but now he's moved his family out to make room for more clients.
Jesus.
A visit to Falkridge closes many deals.
If they come here, Ed, we can get the whole thing. You know what I mean? We won't just get, I mean, I can't tell you how many times it's started out like that, and then when they've come up here, they've changed their mind and said, we might as well go all the way.
Now, when he's trying to drum up more sales, Mogens hears that a staffer is telling sales reps there's no room at Falkridge.
Susan, I was just talking to Lou about, we can't say that the place is not available. That's just not the way it is.
No, but basically, Mogens, we're booked solids. We're just trying to find alternatives.
I don't care.
And we came up with some alternatives.
No, but what we say is that we get them here, and then we'll worry about how we're going to deal with it after, okay? That's what we do, okay?
Okay.
Let's get them booked, and then we work how to deal. That way, you know, because you know the problem is right now the feedback out there in the field is that we can't get good dates. So, you know, I'm pushing to get clients up here and booked, and then we work how to deal. That way, you know, because you know the problem is right now the feedback out there in the field is that we can't get good dates. So, you know, I'm pushing to get clients up here, and they're sitting there saying, well, we can't get a good date right.
His employees take his bluster in stride.
We have a saying at Smed, come to work for Smed is either heaven or hell. And that's why we don't have very much turnover after they've been with us 5 or 6 months.
Smed is an avid sports fisherman, and these days a bit superstitious.
Let's leave it on the wall. I do not want the fish down. I need the business. See, we've had, in our other building, we always had fish, right? And business was great, right? As soon as our fish disappeared, my sales disappeared. So I'm not going without fish.
And tonight at Falkridge, he's trolling, schmoozing clients from North Carolina.
Before we were in 6 different buildings. A piece would go from one building to the other, to the other, to the other. You know, that's not so bad in the summertime, but when it gets 20 and 30 below zero, that's a challenge.
Falkridge is one of Smed's favorite fishing holes. For days, potential clients live among SMED products dangled like bait around them. And Mogens has been doing a lot of fishing.
Easier on me than... But you notice I said I put the fish up. We put the fish up yesterday. We got over $1 million worth of orders in yesterday. I'm not joking. We can't log a lot of them because we don't have PO numbers, and our bureaucracy is beginning to bear down on us here. But we got over $1 million worth of orders in. The power of fish.
Still, he thinks the sales reps have to push harder.
I guarantee you 90% of our reps are not presenting our furniture properly. They're doing it stupid. They're not talking about, the open frame underneath. They're not talking about the cost savings.
But not everyone agrees here.
They're talking about how pretty it is what they're talking about.
Not all of the Mogens. That's not fair.
Well, take a look at the furniture sales. Somebody's going to be famous or infamous here. These folks are architects and designers here from Calgary.
Mogens isn't a manager. 4 VPs and a president run SMED on a daily basis. Mogens stirs the pot.
And that's the price in the door frame.
Watch how he handles this situation.
Well, then why the heck are we even using KBM's door?
SMED is hoping to win a big tender. It includes 1,200 doors. But Mogens thinks the doors SMED makes make its bid too expensive.
Hey, Keith? Yes. You see what we're doing here?
So he calls in his operations VP and tells him SMED will go outside for the doors.
$900,000 worth of doors we're going to have KBM make them because we're not competitive what we're looking at doing here.
The VP rises to Mogens' challenge. 1,200 doors represent nearly $1 million in sales for the new factory.
Well, who says we're not competitive?
I say we're not competitive.
Well, nobody's asked us. Nobody's let us look at the product yet. Has anybody got a sample of the door from them to see what the quality's like?
Who cares?
Well, it does, because we put a lot into our door. If they're not going to put it in, then why do we have to?
Because we're not building second-rate doors here.
But if we can make some money on this, why should we give it to them?
The VP says SMED can do the job.
We've got all this capacity out there, and to give them the doors, to me, that's a big mistake.
So SMED agrees to a blind test. Let the factory try to match the outside manufacturer's door for the same price.
If we use the same standard that they're using, there's no way that they can do it for as cheap as we can build it.
Well,
I know that they can't. So let's take a look at...
Oh, I know they
absolutely.
can, because they don't have our overhead, right?
No.
Later, Mogen reveals his strategy for prodding his VP.
Well, let me tell you. First of all, Keith's the first one to bitch when we got too low a price here, too. I can tell you that right now. It's a little bit of a game that I play with him, too. First of all, Keith's the first one to bitch when we got too low a price here, too. I can tell you that right now. It's a little bit of a game that I play with him, too. And I hear it when he hears that we're going to give it to somebody else, all of a sudden our pricing gets a lot more realistic.
The next day, Mogens is in Edmonton for the grand opening of CN's new Railway Network Operations Center. It's a SMED interior from ceiling to floor, all except for the chairs. They're competitors.
We're having that happen in San Francisco right now.
Mogen schmoozes, a premier speaks, a ribbon is cut, and soon he's on his way back to Calgary.
If they're not prepared to look at our concept...
He'll need a lot more multi-million-dollar orders to turn SMED around.
So be careful with that. That's one. Number two, I was very disappointed to hear that you're not meeting with that guy for Trizec in the next 2 days.
Mogens is still pushing his sales staff.
Well, Trizec Con, within 5 blocks of our showroom in Los Angeles, has got a big project going there.
The last few months have been rough for SMED.
I still stand firm in my comments that the furniture market itself is going to be in a big stinking mess here in the next, definitely in the next 9 months. But not us to be in a big stinking mess here in the next, definitely in the next 9 months. But not us.
Why not? Well, SMED's crisis was a wake-up call, a warning its competitors haven't had yet. And that says Mogens will stand SMED in good stead.
In this particular market, the last couple of years, a brain-dead person could have made profit. What's it going to be like when the real world sets in, and it isn't a seller's market